Hello everybody, it is Al Knight, it is Brony time, and welcome back to Let's Play Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney. When we last left off, we started off our day in court with Officer Meekins taking the stand, and we pretty much said that the mystery man in the video was not actually, Detective Goodman, but was actually, Jake Marshall. Or, well, we haven't said it, at least we're gonna try to prove it today. But, we should get going on to how to prove it. Let's let this man with the luscious spirit speak. The court will now convene for the trial of Miss Lana Skye. Sorry, my voice got coming in. The judge. Pretty stupid. Emma didn't come back. Allow me to call the next witness to the stand. The officer in charge of guarding the evidence room on the day of the crime. Day of the crime. Good God, I'm struggling. My voice is all blah, blah, blah. Sorry if the voice sounded a little weird. Witness, please state your name and occupation. Occupation. Me, partner? Oh, I'm just a man, same as you. Wandering the trails of civilization. Occasionally helping the elderly cross intersections when needed. Yes, we get it. Oh, I know. You're a patrolman. As for my name, if you listen hard enough, you can hear the howling wind calling it out. To be exact, it's Jake Marshall, Your Honor. Howling wind? I've never heard Edgeworth described that way before. Now, Mr. Marshall, let me ask you something. You were in charge of guarding the evidence room on the day the crime took place. Is this correct? According to the papers, partner. What do you mean? The desperado's soul is as boundless as the desert's sands. No paper can sum it up. Maybe it's we guess we got on with this quickly. Please share with us your testimony on the day of the crime. In plain old English. My job was to keep a weary eye on that bone orchard. They said I was supposed to make rounds 3 times a day, but that ain't my style. Besides, the room's protected by 2 security systems anyway. If I remember right, I was at a street-side saloon at the time it went down. I'm just an innocent traveling man, so if you're out of ammo, it's time I hit the trail. I can't say I particularly care for your attitude. I can't say I care for your beard, but you don't see me complaining. Wait a minute. What do you mean by 2 security systems? I mean the security cameras and the ID card reader. I reckon even a cowpoke like you knows about those. Yes, well, what about the fingerprint-activated locks on the evidence lockers? Fingerprint-activated locks? What kind of newfangled doohickeys are those? He's not being very helpful. He's not good with machines, or with following orders. Everyone's got their weaknesses now, don't they, Mr. Prosecutor? This one seems like trouble. Okay, Mr. Wright, he's all yours. No, you weren't, dude. We have your prints. We have your prints. Sorry to say. Objection. Officer Marshall, doesn't it strike you as odd? That is, you being called in to testify like this? After all, you weren't in the security room at the time of the crime. And yet you dragged me down here. Explain yourself, partner. It's quite simple. You left a very large trail behind at the scene. Or to be exact, a handprint. Listen real good, partner. Like I said, I'm the caretaker of that crypt. I pay my respects. That is, make my rounds about once a month. It's only natural my fingerprints would be in there. I only wish it were, officer. But you see, your fingerprints were covered in blood. Witness, what is the meaning of this? Your blood-stained fingerprints were at the crime scene. The blood was wiped away. However, a luminol test clearly revealed this. Well, Officer Marshall, it seems to me there ain't a person in this room with a head on his shoulders. I take it you have an explanation then, Officer Marshall, about the blood-stained fingerprints. Very well, you may begin your testimony about your fingerprints, found at the scene of the crime. Like I said, it's only natural for my fingerprints to be in that evidence room. One of them just happened to be at the same place as the bloodstained handprint. The murder touched the locker where my fingerprint was by chance. The blood stain and the fingerprint are completely unrelated. Or didn't you know the murderer was wearing gloves? See, I had nothing to do with it. The witness's explanation appears valid, although there's room for doubt. Life wouldn't be fun without any doubt, partner. The defense may now cross-examine the witness. This guy's hiding something. I can feel it. Now's my chance to prove it. That's because you, how did you put it, pay your respects once a month? Yeah, that's right. That one more thing. That locker happens to be mine. What? What you mean? I mean what I said. That's the locker I used when I was a detective. The locker I still use. All that's in there now, though, is a heap of broken dreams. I see. It'd be strange if my prints weren't all over that locker. Apparently his fingerprint data was never removed from the locker's program. He must have been using the fingerprint lock all this time without ever knowing. How do you know that? I may be a loner, but I still do my job. I keep up on the reports. There was a blood stain at the scene thought to be left by the murderer. That's right. It was found on Detective Gumshoe's locker. However, no fingerprints were detected on that handprint. Oh yeah, I think we tried that too. So that would mean the murderer wearing gloves happened to place the hand on top of Officer Marshall's fingerprint? That's the only logical conclusion. Are you starting to get the picture, partner? The picture? This seal of blood in the desert is just food for the buzzards. There's only one reality, and that's this. So as long as my trail isn't in there, you can't say otherwise. This isn't getting us anywhere, Mr. Wright. Please consider carefully where you're going with this cross-examination. Yes, Your Honor. Now then, continue your testimony, Officer Marshall. What do you mean by that? You want to tie me to this crime, isn't that right, partner? If so, that video is the only direct evidence you have. That video is next to useless. It's full of blind spots. Blind spots? Places you can't see. The camera's panning back and forth. The floor isn't shown. If someone was familiar with the camera's position, they could leave the room without being caught on tape. We don't have time for your speculations, Mr. Wright. Well, Mr. Wright, if you can show us evidence in this video that indicates Officer Marshall was present, please let us know. Very well. Allow me to point out your mistake, Officer Marshall. Tread carefully, Mr. Wright. or you might wind up being the one making the mistake. Now then, let's have another look at the video. Show us the incriminating evidence of the witness, Officer Jake Marshall. God, I hate that fucking sound music. Bring our attention back to the security camera. It's a mistake I'm afraid you'll soon not forget, Officer Marshall. The days are short in Texas, and so are our tempers. Could you sum up what you have to say in 8 words or less? Very well. You can clearly be seen in the video. Exactly 8 words. Not bad, pardon. The key lies in a certain locker shown in the video. That locker with the white cloth sticking out. That was the witnesses, I believe. Now then, let's rewind the video a bit. Oh, the white cloth. It's gone. What's the meaning of this, Officer Marshall? When the crime took place, the white cloth... When the crime took place, the white cloth wasn't there. Then it suddenly appeared. There's only one explanation. Officer Marshall, you were in the evidence room at the time of the crime. What's more, you opened your locker when the camera was turned away. Order, hold your horses. Sorry, partner, but you got the wrong man. So what if my locker was open? That doesn't mean I'm the one who opened it. The murderer needed to hide something, so he opened the locker and stuck it in. It's not my fault that he happened to choose mine. Why is everyone staring at me like I'm a wanted man? This guy's just plain dumb. He really doesn't know. I hate to rain on your parade, but you're the only person who can open that particular locker. Oh yeah? I call your bluff. You say open that locker, now prove it.
Take that!
Fingerprint sensor? We talked about this earlier today. The lockers can only be opened by the detectives they belong to. What kind of crazy talk is this? Well, Detective Gumshoe did mention something about this. In any case, the locks aren't that obvious. Now, even some people on the force that don't know about the fingerprint locks. So, Sheriff, what do you have to say in 8 words or less? I only got 1 word for you, partner. No! Order! Witness, explain yourself! If this is a joke, it's the worst I've ever heard. I assure you this is no joke, Officer Marshall. Now then, please tell us what you were doing in the evidence room at the time of the crime. Ole! What the fuck? I don't remember that line. Ole! Please... I can't do it in the judge's voice. Please answer the question. What is he now, a bullfighter? That's all right, Officer Marshall. I believe we can figure the rest out from here. We can. Have a look at these floor plans. There's no place for someone to hide in the evidence room. Yet Officer Meekins didn't see Officer Marshall. If that's so, then where's the witness? It seems Mr. Wright has an answer. That's right, the only possible conclusion. Well then, let's hear it. Where was Officer Marshall at the time of the crime?
Take that!
Officer Marshall was standing right here. Yeah, but that's where the victim, Detective Goodman, was. Correct, unless the man wasn't Detective Goodman. I believe the victim in the video is Officer Marshall. It was you dressed up like Detective Goodman.
Objection!
But that's preposterous. Officer Meekins witnessed the detective at the crime scene. Once he saw the man's face, he knew for sure.
Objection!
My point. May I point out, though, that Officer Meekins did not know Detective Goodman. He also testified about the man's reaction when confronted. Something about the officer's story puzzled me. If the man had his ID card, why didn't he just show it? Yes, he would have needed it to enter the evidence room, so he must have been carrying it. The answer is simple. He couldn't show it. As you can see, Detective Goodman's picture is on his ID card. Oh, I get it. If he showed that his cover would have been blown, Officer Meekins would have realized the man wasn't Detective Goodman. Do you have anything to say to this, Officer Marshall? You got quite an imagination, partner. We got a term for that. It's called circumstantial evidence. Circumstantial evidence? He's still denying it? You're gonna have to do better than that to break a detective. Unless you have hard evidence proving I dressed up as the victim. Can't say I particularly care for your uncooperative disposition. I can't say I care for your beer, but you don't see me complaining. Well, Mr. Wright, do you have any evidence proving beyond a shadow of a doubt that Officer Marshall dressed up as the victim? Well, who am I kidding? I don't have anything like that. I can see the fear in your eyes, partner. Seems you're the one who couldn't take the desert heat. This can't be happening. It's so obvious he's the one. What can I do? It looks like your lack of experience has finally been exposed. I'll pass on to you what someone told me when I was just starting out. When you run into a wall with no place to go, return to the basics. The basics? For me, that would be what Mia used to tell me. Phoenix, try thinking outside the box. I shouldn't look for proof that Officer Marshall was in disguise. But rather I should look for evidence that came about because he was in disguise. Why do you think— oh, God. I became the judge. Why do you think this locker was opened in the first place? What do you mean? There's no reason for Officer Marshall to open his locker at the time of the crime. Yet he did, despite the chance it might be discovered later as it had been. Which means he didn't originally plan to open his locker. According to the defense's argument, Officer Jake Marshall dressed up as Detective Goodman at the time of the crime. Then after the crime was committed, he opened his own locker for some unknown reason. The fact that a white cloth is sticking out of the locker seems to indicate that he opened it in order to put the cloth inside. So, just what exactly is this piece of cloth? Perhaps the video is the key to all our unanswered questions. I don't have any evidence, so the video is my only shot. Very well, let's take yet another look at the security tape. After committing the crime, the witness opened the locker to put away the white cloth. Please show us why the witness had to do it. At least they let you fast forward in this one.
Take that!
Well, what do you have to say to that? Alright, partner, you really want to know the reason I had to open my locker? Why? So I could stuff you in there, huh? I'm sure the world would be a better place with you sent off to the boneyard. Unfortunately, unresolved cases can't be stored in the evidence room. Now I'm an unresolved case? Something went wrong, that's why. Unexpected. Oh my god. Why are we going through all this again? So, Wright 1. Wright 2. This one? Hopefully this is the right one. I think it is. For some reason, you disguised yourself as Detective Goodman and entered the evidence room, though I don't know to what end yet. However, something unexpected happened. Officer Meekins barged in on you. When asked to show your ID card, you pulled a knife on him. However, Officer Meekins panicked, and the white coat you were wearing was soiled with blood. A bloody white coat. You couldn't just walk out like that, so you hid the coat in your locker. Not bad, partner. Now then, Officer Marshall. Oh my god, what the f... Are you ready to tell us the truth? Looks like I underestimated y'all. I hope you're happy now, Mr. Edgeworth. 2 years ago, if you were only half as persistent than as you are today, we all wouldn't have to be here now would we? Officer Marshall, tell the court what you did. All of it. Alright, it seems the time has come. I had to do it that day. I couldn't just stand by and let it die. I stole the detective's ID and dressed like him. I planned to take out the evidence. I wasn't expecting Officer Meekins. I knocked him out and managed to escape. I knew which areas wouldn't be caught on camera. There wasn't any murder in the evidence room at 5:15. So the supposed victim was really you. There's one thing I still don't understand. Traces of a large quantity of blood were found on the floor of the evidence room. If no one was murdered, then how could that be? Officer Meekins managed to cut his own hand. My guess is he's the donor. It was way too much blood for such a small donation.
Hold it!
When you say it, you mean, do you even have to ask, partner? The SL9 incident. 2 years have passed since that case was closed. It is going to completely end with the transfer that day. Not if I have anything to do with it. The incident's over, but what did you hope to accomplish by sneaking into the evidence room? When a case is closed, only the case's lead detective can look through the evidence. I wanted to have a look at it myself one more time. matter what the cost. I don't care what anyone says, partner, that case is mine. But Officer Marshall was in charge of that investigation. Why does he care so much about it? That day was the last chance. It was my last chance. That's why Why did you disguise yourself as Detective Goodman? If I didn't make it look like Goodman was carrying out the evidence transferal, I'd be arrested for stealing evidence, which wouldn't get me anywhere. So you did it to fool the security camera. And the detective's ID card? I stole that the morning of the incident. So that really was why Goodman started filling out that lost item report. I returned his ID card. I left it on the floor in the prosecutor's office parking lot. The ID card that I found was left there by Officer Marshall. So essentially, you managed to succeed despite your lack of foresight. What do you mean, partner? I mean the fingerprint-activated lock, of course. No matter how well you disguised yourself, you can't change your fingerprints. Under normal circumstances, you wouldn't have been able to open that locker yourself. But he could, because a rubber glove just happened to get stuck in the door. That means Detective Goodman must have opened the locker before Officer Marshall. You pulled a knife on Officer Meekins and tried to drive him off? Let's just say I was a little surprised. I only planned on being in the evidence room for no more than 5 minutes. I didn't think anyone would actually come in during that short time. Officer Meekins certainly is a one-in-a-million type of person. Making a detective for an intruder and demanding to be shown his ID. I'll have to think a little more about his race this year. When did Edgeworth get so much influence? Anyway, he threw himself at me and it ended up cutting him slightly. I'm sorry it had to turn out that way. With me knocking him out and everything. By the way, what happened to your knife? Oh, you mean this one? I don't know what to say. So you knocked Officer Meekins out and... So you did your research beforehand. Those who go into the desert unprepared don't live long, partner. I didn't think it would make a difference, though. The security tape is erased every 6 hours. If all had gone as planned, no footage would have been left. However, you bloodied your coat in your struggle with Officer Meekins. If someone was in security room when I came out, the jig would have been up. I opened my locker and stashed it in there. What was Officer Meekins doing during that time? What else? He was sleeping like a baby. So what you're saying is on that day, there wasn't any murder in the evidence room at 5:15. But the blood found at the scene certainly indicates a crime took place. What are you, lying? The victim shown on that tape is me, and I'm not dead yet, partner. So you stole the evidence from the locker. Actually, no I didn't. Why not? When I opened the locker, the evidence was already gone. What? Mr. Edgeworth, where is that evidence? Where is that evidence? Still missing, Your Honor. Detective Goodman's locker was already empty. Someone else stole the evidence. Officer Marshall, may I ask you one thing? Fire away, partner. It's a free country. Just remember, I'm also free to decide whether or not to answer. Why did you do this? Stealing a detective's ID, injuring a police officer. This is no small offense. Moreover, you're an officer yourself. This will have serious consequences. It can't just be forgiven with a simple cut in salary. Not that salary cuts are ever a valid solution. Like I said, this isn't your case, this one is mine. And I'll do anything it takes to get an answer that I'm satisfied with. The witness has an unusual amount of zeal. Let's hear more. Can't just forget the SL9 incident. You know why? I had a feeling it went up here sooner. Everyone, okay, But that case was solved 2 years ago, wasn't it? That's the reason the evidence was stored in the evidence room. Joe Dock was convicted for his crimes. One thing I can say for sure is he deserved his sentence. I remember that Joe Dock case. It involved serial murders. I don't intend to complain about how it turned out, but there's something that still bothers me. Something went down at that trial. Something no one will talk about. What happened? I don't know. That's what I'm trying to figure out. Why is he so concerned with that incident? Maybe I should present him with what I think his real reason is. I had a feeling we'd wind up here sooner or later. Everyone involved here is related to in some way that the case. I'd better take another look at the files. I can't read today. I'm sorry. We will present our evidence next time on Ace Attorney. Yeah, I was hoping we could make it to the end of this part, but there's a lot more that seems to be we're gonna keep going. So anyway, thank you all for watching. Please leave a like, comment, and subscribe to Brony Time for more content, especially more Ace Attorney. Also, please make sure to share this video far and wide so we get as many eyes on the series as possible. I will see you all in the next one.